Okay, in today's lesson, my plan is to discuss about the keys and ER diagrams, which is one of the main questions that you are getting for your examination. So that is ER diagram. Sometimes you might get ER diagram and data flow diagram both, but most of the examination, you will definitely get ER diagram question. So before that, actually, we need to revise the things again. We have already discussed about this, about the keys and all. We have already discussed, but I expect, I think we have to just remind, just actually go through that stuff again, right? So hopefully, right, hopefully this part. So what is super key? We already know that a database, right? In database, there is in tables, so it is required to identify a unique identifier, because we cannot, so in order to represent a row, we cannot present all the data. So especially when we need to delete something, especially when we need to search something, especially when we need to update something. Can you remember that in SQL, we are using the specific unique field, right? Okay, let's say you want to update the record of maybe, let's say you have students in your database. Let me go to the database again. And in case if you cannot remember, let me show that, because when we learn the queries, it is easy to understand this concept. We have already learned the queries. Now because we have that logical knowledge why keys are needed. So if there are no keys, so it's very difficult to create relationships, and also very difficult to do the updating, deleting stuff. Let's go to the PHP MyAdmin. Oh, PHP MyAdmin. Okay, when we access the database, okay, you can see here DB hello, DB school is our database. In that we have tables, and you can see these are the fields in this table: student ID, first name, last name, class, date of birth, gender, city, and so status of deleted. I put deleted status because, so rather than deleting a record, we can update this deleted to 0. So initially deleted is 0, right? Initially deleted is 0, but when you put deleted into 1, when you set deleted into 1, so you can assume that the record is deleted. So without deleting, I can delete. So what is the advantage? Without deleting, I can delete this. What is the advantage of doing such? Without deleting, if I update as deleted, because if you delete data, so that data cannot be recovered again, right? We can't undo that. For an example, okay, this is a table. You have student ID, first name, last name, class, date of birth, gender, city, and deleted status. Let's say I want to delete Mahinsa Shehani. So I'm putting delete button there. So then it's asking, do you really want to execute? This query is given, right? Delete from the student where student ID is. Here, see that? Delete from student where student ID is 11. So how we find the student? Using the student ID. Student to student ID can delete from student where the student ID is 11. Student ID equal student will delete karan. So that is the easiest way. That's why we need a key. That's why we need a unique identifier. මොකද 11 වෙන වෙන ස්ටුඩන්ට්ස් ලා නැහැ. ස්ටුඩන්ට් ID එක 11 වෙන වෙන ස්ටුඩන්ට්ස් ලා නැහැ. එතකොට මෙයා විතරයි. මහින්සා ශ්‍යානි විතරයි 11 වෙන ස්ටුඩන්ට්. Student ID 11 වෙන්නේ මහින්සාගේ විතරයි. So if you delete the student ID 11, that will delete the entire record of Mahinsa. Okay, let's click OK. Now it's deleted. Now we cannot get that record, so it's deleted. But why I put, this is a tricky thing, right? Why I put a deleted column called deleted? Because then I don't want to delete. Rather than deleting, I can just update. Okay, go to edit and I can update. Okay, deleted equal 1. But actually, I'm not deleting. This is happening in Windows recycle bin also. So when you delete something, it will go to which one? Recycle bin? No, it will be permanently deleted. In Windows, when you delete something, it will go to recycle bin, right? Is it actually deleted then?
No.
No, it is stored in somewhere else. When we delete something, okay, let's say I just want to delete something, and I'm here, you can see this presentation 8, and I'm just deleting, right click and delete. But actually, it's deleting means it's I'm moving this to somewhere else. It's moving to recycle bin. It is not deleted inside. Instead of that, it is stored in the recycle bin, and then I can get that back. So some students are thinking that when you delete, it is deleted. I have seen some students, they are having recycle bin, and the storage capacity of the recycle bin is like 500 gigabytes. Whatever they deleted, this is inside the recycle bin, and they have never cleaned the recycle bin. It's like this. You have a dustbin in your home. You want to throw some garbage. So you throw it to dustbin, but you are not cleaning the dustbin. Then what will happen? Ultimately, everything will be there in the dustbin, right? Everything will be there in the dustbin. That means we are not actually deleting. Here also, that's why I put this column deleted. So when deleted is 0, it's not deleted. But when deleted is 1, I'm not actually deleting. Instead of that, I'm updating and I'm telling, okay, then I can identify the 0 status records are not deleted, but the 1 state record is deleted. But if I want that back, I can edit and get that back. I can just put 0 and my record will be available to me. So that is the advantage. So that is the advantage of updating without deleting. Right? Therefore, I just use this deleted column. It's a trick. It's not to delete actually. It's to temporarily move it away. It's like recycle bin. I'm temporarily moving it away, but keeping the data in the same place. When I need this, I can get that back rather than actually deleting that data. Okay. Anyway, in all this operation here, see this. Make it when I update this, see the query. Update student set deleted equal 1, where the student ID equal 10. It's updating the student ID. Updating based on the student ID, because student ID is a unique identifier. It is used to identify the particular role. So for an example, think about your NIC. Your NIC can be used to identify you. So let's say in a checkpoint, if you give your NIC, and so let's say they are checking, so some checkpoints they are checking for a criminal. So then when they request the NIC and when you give the NIC, basically they used to identify the person using the NIC. That is a unique identifier. Rather than checking everything, they first check the unique identifier. So that is why we need a key in database. Okay, what is super key? Super key is a group or single or multiple keys which identify rows in a table. A super key may have additional attributes that are not needed for the unique identification. So what do you mean by that? Okay, so let me tell an example. If I take employee SSN, EMP SSN, is it a super key? According to this explanation, if I take employee SSN, is it super key? Yes or no? Simple answer. Super key is a unique identifier. It can be single or multiple keys. Is it uniquely identifying the records? Is it unique? Employee SSN, is it unique?
Yes.
Yes, it's a unique identifier. It's a super key. So if I take employee number, is it unique?
Yes.
It is also a super key. If I take employee name, is it unique?
No.
See here, according to the records. It's also unique, right?
Yes.
According to the records, it's also unique. So it is also super key here. So here, yes. In the above example, employee SSN, employee number, name are super keys. All are super keys. Okay, if I take this, both of these together, is it a super key? Employee SSN and employee number, is it super key? Read the explanation. If I take employee SSN and employee number, is it a super key? Yes or no? Super key can be any single or multiple keys with identify row in a table. Is it a super key? Employee SSN and number together.
Yes.
Yes, it's a super key. So if I take employee number and name together, is it a super key?
Yes.
If I take employee SSN, employee name and number, all three, is it a super key?
Yes.
Yes, it's a super key. So understand the concept, right? Just understand the concept. So employee SSN, employee number, if you take both together, it's a super key. If you take all three together, it's also a super key. These two together, it's also a super key. These three together, that is also a super key. All are super keys. Right? So, what is primary key? The next thing that we are going to discuss is what is primary key. Primary key is a column or group of columns in a table that uniquely identify every row in that table, and primary key cannot be duplicated, means the same value cannot appear more than once in a table. Right? Primary key is a column or group of columns in a table that uniquely identify every row in that table. So primary key can't be duplicated. So it is also unique, right? A table cannot have more than one primary key. So, but super keys, table can have any number of super keys. But primary key is only once. Only one primary. Table can have only one primary key. Okay, another thing that we need to tell here, primary key is a minimal super key. It's a super key, but minimal. That means if you have all three together, it's also super key, but that is not minimal. No? If you have these two together, it's also primary key, but that is also not minimal. If you take this one, that is super key, but it is minimal. It has only one feature, minimal. So minimal super key is, that is another way of telling super key. Primary key is a minimal super key. And right, two rows cannot have same primary key. That's why I said unique. It must, for every row, to have a primary key value, right? So primary key field cannot be null, cannot be empty. Then value of the primary key column can never be modified or updated if foreign key refers to that primary key. The value of the primary key can never be modified. That means if this primary key is linked to somewhere else, if this primary key is linked to somewhere else, if it is linked to another table, you can't update it because it is like primary key column can be never be modified or updated if any foreign key refers to that primary key. That means that is referential integrity or referential. If this primary key is there in some other table, you should not modify that. So these are rules related to the primary key. Okay, don't worry, I'll give this note, right? No need to write down, I'll give this note. So in the following example, so student ID is the primary key, right? That is minimal super key. Alternative keys. When you select the super key, when you select the primary key, the remaining super keys, we call them alternative keys. Remember these terms carefully. Otherwise, I really like if you can get the highlight, if you can highlight the point. Super key is basically a group or single multiple keys which identify a row, which can identify a row. It can be one or more even. Primary key is the minimal super key. That is the minimum. And alternative key is the remaining super keys. After selecting the primary key, okay, I have selected this as the primary key. Then there are some remaining keys. These remaining keys are called, after selecting this key, the remaining keys are called alternative keys. Right. Alternative keys, you can see that. Those are the remaining super keys. So in this table, student ID, roll number, email. So those are super keys. Student number is unique, roll number is unique, email is also unique, first name, last name is also unique, but those are really not good fields, no, because it can be in future, it can be replicated. So these are, so student ID, roll number, email are. So once student ID is selected, the roll number, email, you can call them possible alternative keys. Right now, we learn about 3 kinds of keys: super key, primary key, alternative key. The next one is candidate keys. Next one is candidate keys. Okay, so better, so let's write not much, let's write about these 3 points: super key, primary key. So please write the heading keys. Keys in a database. Keys in a table, sorry, keys in a table. Please write down that heading and don't write everything, just write super key, any unique identifier, any single or multiple keys which identify a row uniquely. Then primary key, is the minimal super key. Please write those points on, other things no need to write, only write these 2 points. Any unique identifier, a single or multiple keys. Primary key, minimal super key. Then alternative keys. Remaining super keys. Remaining super keys after selecting the primary key. Right, primary, so super key is any unique identifier. Simple way, any unique identifier, it can be single or multiple keys. Next is primary key. Primary key is minimal super key. Primary key is minimal super key. Third, alternative key. Alternative key is the remaining keys, remaining super keys after selecting the primary key. Remaining super keys after selecting the primary key. Remaining super keys after selecting the primary key. Okay, then candidate key. So candidate key is candidates. Candidates means qualified. Candidate keys means, so it's again a set of attributes that uniquely identify tuples or the rows in the table. Right? Candidate key is a super key with no repeated attributes. Candidate key is also, it's also a super key, but with no repeated attributes. Right? No repeated attributes. Same attribute, we are not going to take it again and again. But candidate, so in super keys, even repeated attributes are taken. Repeated attributes means, let's say first name is here, again first name is there somewhere. That both can be taken as repeated attribute. But so candidate key is a super key with no repeated attributes. Basically, these are closely related, right? Closely related. Candidate key and super key. Candidate key was super key. Both are closely related. So but you can write candidate key as a super key with no repeated attributes. Similar rules for the primary key. Primary key, similar rules which are applied to the primary key also apply to the similar rules that apply to the primary key also apply to the super key and primary key and candidate key. Okay. In the given table, student ID, roll number, email are candidate keys. So those are also candidate keys. And those are super keys also. And so student ID is selected super key, which is the primary key. And the remaining keys will become alternative keys. That is the idea. Okay, the better way, so let's forget the super key concept. So let's forget that and let's identify these are the candidate keys. Primary key is the selected key. The remaining keys are alternative keys. Very simple. So very simple way of understanding that. Foreign key. Foreign key. Foreign, as the name implies, it came from a foreign table. It came from another table. Foreign key is a key came from another table. So it's a primary key of some other table. Simple way to remember that. Foreign key, what is that? It's a primary key of another table. Okay, let's see the example given below. You can see department code, department name, teacher ID, first name, last name. These tables, when you read this table, no relationship between these two tables. Because department code has department name, teacher ID, first name, last name. So that is also there. These are isolated tables, but no way to link these tables. So if I want to link these tables, so one thing is put the department code. The department code is the primary key of the department table. You put it into the teacher table, then you can create a relationship between both tables. Otherwise, what will happen? The tables will be isolated. The tables will be isolated. When tables are isolated, what will happen? When tables are isolated, it is not possible to fetch data, or it is not possible to refer data with a link. So we can't identify the meaning correctly. Okay. Right? Therefore, right, you need to remember these foreign keys. Foreign key is a way of building the relationship. Please write down that as well. Already we have discussed. So how many key types? Already we have discussed few key types. The key type 1 is super key. Then we discuss
Primary
candidate key, primary key, alternative keys. Also, we discuss about this foreign key, which is a primary key of another table, the compound key and composite key. Composite key is actually a combination of 2 or more keys. So in your short note, please write down composite key, combination of 2 or more keys. Combination of 2 or more keys. That is called composite. Sometimes we have to composite because single key is not enough. Single key itself cannot identify a tuple or row uniquely. Row එකක් tuple එකක් unique identify කරගන්න තනි key එකකට බැරි වෙනවා. Then you have to introduce a composite key. Composite key is 2 or more keys together. Minimum 2. Minimum composite key, minimum it should have 2 keys. So 2 or more keys. 2 or more keys taken. 2 or more keys are selected as a primary key. 2 or more keys are selected as the primary key to identify a row uniquely. That is complete knot. 2 or more keys are taken as the primary key to identify a row uniquely. That is called composite. Composite, right? Remember, that is composite. So then compound. Composite, compound. Composite and compound. Composite and then compound. Compound means 2 keys, 2 primary keys from some other table. Right? So no need to read entire note. So let's say you have there are 2 primary keys from other table. So in composite keys, any 2 keys, right? Any 2 keys or 2 or more keys. It can be anything. Composite can be anything. But when it is come to compound, so those keys composited or keys combined are primary keys of some other table. Here, let's say the order number came from the order table. Product ID came from the product table. Product ID is the primary key of product table. Order number is the primary key of order table. Then order number, product ID together creating a compound key. Compound key. Right? එතකොට order number එක primary key එකක් වෙන table එක. Product ID එකත් primary key එකක් වෙන table එක. Primary key එකතු වෙලා composite වෙන primary key දෙකක් එකතු වෙලා හෝ දෙකක් හෝ තුනක් ඕන ගන්න. Primary key එකතු වෙලා හැදෙනවට අපි කියනවා compound කියලා. ඒ කියන්නේ compound is a special occurrence of composite. Composite කියන්නේ මොනවා හරි දෙකක්. දැන් මෙතන මේවත් දෙක අරගෙන composite එකක් අපි හිතමු මෙහෙම teacher ID එකයි first name එකයි composite වෙන්න පුළුවන්. හැබැයි primary key ම දෙකක් composite වුණොත් අපි කියනවා compound key. Then surrogate key. Okay, please write down about this also. I'll ask these things, right? After the session, I will ask, you have to explain. So what is primary key? It's a minimal super key. What is super key? It's any unique key. So what is candidate key? It is a super key with no repetitive fields. And what is alternative key? After selecting the primary key, the remaining key is called alternative. What is foreign key? Foreign key is a primary key of another table. Primary key of another table is foreign key. Then what is composite key? 2 or more keys together forming a primary key, that is called a composite. What is compound key? Compound key is 2 or more primary keys together creating the primary key of that table, that is compound. Surrogate. I think you heard of story surrogate mother. Surrogate කියන්නේ හදා ගන්න දරුවෙක්. Surrogate mother. නිකන් බලා ගන්න අම්ම කෙනෙක්. නැත්නම් බලා ගන්න දරුවෙක්. Surrogate baby, surrogate mother. Surrogate කියලා කියන්නේ එයාගේ ඇත්ත කී එකක් නැහැ. කී එකක් දාගන්න විදිහක් නැහැ. කී එකක් ඇත්තේ නැහැ. When there are no keys, we introduce just ID, unique ID, auto increment in ID, automatic ID. First name you can't, it's not very good, it's not a good primary key. Last name, of course, it is also not a good primary key, but you can create a composite key if you want. Together you can create a composite key. හරි ඒකත් අපි හිතමු ඒකත් එච්චර සුදුසු නෑ කියලා. So මෙතනදී නම් ඇත්තටම සරෝගේට් එකක් ඕන නෑ. මෙතනදී සරෝගේට් එකක් ඕන නැති වෙන්න හේතුව මේ දෙකෙන් කම්පවුන්ඩ් එකක් හදන්න පුළුවන්. කම්පොසයිට් එකක් හදන්න. කම්පොසයිට් එකක් හදන්න ඕන පුළුවන් හින්දා සරෝගේට් එකක් ඕන නෑ. හැබැයි කම්පොසයිට් එකකුත් හදා ගන්න බැරි නම් අපි සරෝගේට් එකක් ගන්නවා 1 2 3 කියලා. row number එක නිකන් identify කරගන්න පුළුවන් විදිහට 1 2 3 කියලා දාලා surrogate key එකක් කතා කරනවා. Surrogate key is synthetically or forcefully introduced or newly introduced field. Artificial key. It's an artificial key to make row number unique. It's an artificial key to make the row number unique because no any primary key is suitable. දැන් ලංකාවටත් ඕන surrogate president කෙනෙක්. ඇතුලේ ඉන්න මිනිස්සු සුදුසු නෑ. කොහෙන් හරි චීනෙන්වත් ගෙනල්ලා තමයි දාගන්න වෙන්නේ. So we need a surrogate president maybe. Right? Surrogate means artificially introduced key. Okay, now we discuss about all the keys. Right? I think this table you need to write down today. Difference between the primary key and foreign key. This is very important. I'll explain this. Please write down this quickly. Right. Now we have prepared the background and now you know about each and every key. So in examination, if they ask about any kind of key, you should be able to answer using this knowledge. This is actually key lesson. Okay. So we have done this part. Now let's come to the ER diagram theory part, which, as I said, so there will be definitely there will be essay question, some MCQ questions coming from this area. So similar to the flow chart which we use in programming, in databases there is a diagramming technique. In flow charts basically we have used why, because we wanted to explain that we want to explain program in a smoother way where everyone can understand and without any ambiguity. So therefore we had clear symbols. Hope you can remember inputs, process, then there was symbol like input, process, decision, start, stop. So those kind of symbols, data flow. Those are some symbols used in flowcharts. So flowcharts are easy to understand and it is easy to communicate using flowcharts, and that is used as a design tool. Similar to that, in database design, ER diagram and data flow diagrams both are used as design tools. We will learn both. ER diagram, entity relationship diagram. So basically it shows how the system entities are interacting with each other. How entities are behaving, how entities are connected to each other, relate to each other. So entity means basically in a database, you can see this entity as a table. Okay, let's read this ER diagram. So here writer, novel and consumer are entities. So entities are connected by using relationships. So basically in a table, how this relationship is created? Using the primary key and foreign key relationship. Okay, a novel is created by a writer. Writer creates novel. And novels are consumed by the consumer, or consumer buys novel. So this is simple scenario. How many tables are there in this ER diagram, Puti? Can you imagine how many tables are here?
2.
2 or 3. A writer is a table. Novel is a table, consumer is also a table. There are 3 tables, right? So relationship wise, there are 2 relationships, but there are 3 tables. So I think you can remember the designer view that we took here. When we go to the database and when you go to the designer view here, you can see something similar, but not the same. Something similar here. Table teacher, then the school, teacher, class, and student. There are 4 tables and 3 relationships. Yes, 4 tables, 3 relationships are there. 1, 2, 3, 4 tables and 3 relations. You can see the primary key, student ID, class ID, student here also student ID, here actually teacher ID, here the class ID, here the subject ID. Then the primary key, foreign key relationship. Subject ID here is the primary key, and in the teacher table it is subject, it is the foreign key. See, int3 here, int3 here, both are same field but different names. Primary key is SID in the subject field, subject table. Foreign key is subject in the teacher table. Then what is the primary key foreign key relationship here? Teacher table TID is there as teacher ID. Teacher ID is the foreign key. Teacher is the primary key. Teacher ID is the primary key, and here teacher ID is the foreign key. And here also the class ID is the primary key here, and class ID is the foreign key. So that is how the relationships are created actually. This is similar to ER diagram, but not that. So ER diagram, these are entities, right? These are attributes. These are called attributes. This class ID, grade, G letter, teacher ID, F name, L name, these are called attributes. Attributes are not represented in this not yet. Okay, let's see in future diagram. And actually this is, there are 2 models. So one is Peter Chen model, Peter Chen. So he is the one who created this, introduced this ER model. So one is this Peter Chen model. So there are 2 ways of representing diagrams, and basically we have to use here Gain and Sarson and Peter Chen notation. So let's see that. Here Peter Chen notation, and there's another one, Gain and Sarson. So I cannot remember the spellings. Chen notation and Gain and Sarson notation. Okay. Gain and Sarson, right? So here you can see. So this is basically comes with the DFD, Gain and Sarson data flow diagram model, and here the other one is Peter Chen notation. It's coming with ER diagrams, right? ER diagrams, Chen notation. This is called Chen notation, and you can see this more. Now you can see order is an entity, party is an entity, party role types entity, order lines entity, then other order lines entity, product order lines entity, service entity, product is entity. And these small circles, ellipse, those are attributes. And the diamonds are relationships. And you can see ones, ends, one, n, m. These are actually called cardinality. We will learn that. So what is cardinality and option? Everything is there in this diagram, right? But let's go and explore more. Okay, so what are the symbols? Entities are represented using rectangles. I think better you write this. No need to write this. This is too much. So let's go to the, okay, please write this. Please draw this actually. Symbols used in ER diagram. Actually, I'll write within bracket ER diagram is database design tool, which is used to represent tables and their relationship in symbolic notation. Okay, please write down this and then draw the symbols. So entity can be any unique like anything which is explained. So this part actually you have to identify very clearly, sharp to the point. So why? Because otherwise in the examination, when they give this paragraph and read and understand, then asking you to draw the diagram, you will be in big trouble, because if you cannot understand. Entity means any object or any person, any place, any event, anything which is explained further. My second word, that explanation, that second sentence, very important. Entity is basically explained further. It is a singular noun and it is explained further. Okay, let's say in a paragraph, you will see school, in a class, you can see students. Students are having, or students have first name, last name, and students are identified by their student ID. According to that statement, you can understand what's there. Student is a noun. It's singular. It is explained further. Student has student ID, name, age, gender. Likewise, it's explained further. Those are entities. Basically, it's a noun and it is explained further. Weak entity is an entity that depends on some other entity. Weak entity cannot exist without the other entity. So order item exists only when order is there. If there are no orders, no order items. If there are no orders, no order item. Weak entity is entity which depends on some other entity. The existence of the weak entity is it depends on some other entity. So we call weak entity. Okay, so basically entity, it's a noun which is explained further. It's about a person, place, event, or an object. Weak entity is also a noun which is explained further, but it depends on existence of another entity. It depends on existence of another entity, that is weak entity. Okay, let's write down that quickly. This part is needed today. I can skip this note, but this part is really needed, because otherwise we will not be able to draw the diagrams. No need to write down everything. Entity can be a person, place, or event, object that relevant to a given system. No need to write the example. Then it says it's a singular noun which is explained further. Singular noun which is explained further. Weak entity is an entity that depends on existence of another entity. So that's enough. Weak entity is an entity. So maybe head and person and head. Actually, without a person, head cannot be. Without a person, or brain and the person. Without a person, brain cannot be there. Brain, existence of brain depends on existence of the person. If person is there, there's a brain. It's like, that's the thing. Okay, I hope it's enough. Then attribute. Attribute is a property or feature of an entity. Simplest way of explaining that, it's a feature or property of an entity. Here, attribute is a feature of or property of an entity. Customer has ID, name, address. Address has actually number, street, and city. This address is called derived attribute, right? When attribute has some other components, we call that a derived attribute. So the no need to write that, just write about attribute. I'll explain derived attribute. Okay. Then multi-value attribute and derived attribute. That's what I said earlier. Multi-value attribute is an attribute which can have multiple values. For an example, teacher has many subjects. Teacher teach many subjects, so teacher has many subjects. Maybe a person has telephone number. If a person has 2-3 telephone numbers, person telephone number. So person telephone number, there can be many telephone number, then you call multi-value. Derived attribute is based on another attribute. If attribute is created based on some other attribute, that is called derived attribute. Here actually the area is attribute which is derived from radius. Because if you know the radius, you can multiply the radius and derive the area. Similar to that, address is also derived attribute. Why? If you know the number, street and city, by combining number, street and city, you can derive the address. Number, street and city, then you can derive the address. Here also the same. If you know the radius, you can derive the area. You can find the area. So that is called derived attribute. Please write down this as well. Next, very important thing, relationship. How entities are related to each other. How entities are basically represented in tables. How entities are related to other is called relationship. This relationship is very special because when relationship is there, here carpenter makes table. So we have to identify the primary keys and foreign keys of the table. Therefore, relationships are important, and some relationships can be within the same entity. So that is called recursive relationship. For an example, employees supervise employees. That can be, right? So there is a supervising employee who supervise other employees. Or employee manage employees. Employee manage employees. Employee supervise employees. A student maybe supervise other students. That is called recursive relationship. Okay, please show them also relationship. Relationship is how entities interact. Recursive relationship is relationship between the relationship which is connected to the same entity, which is called recursive relationship. Please write down them. Some students find this difficult, the cardinality or ordinality part. So that is basically how one entity is participating in the relationship. So let's say the email account and the contacts. One email account has many contacts. We say one to many, one to n. And one contact belongs to one email account. So that is not like that even. The one contact can belongs to many also. This is not a very good example. But let's say this is again chain model. So basically we use chain model in the examination. Employee has dependent. One employee has many dependents. Actually, dependent belongs to one employee. That is correct. And again, here this is Strawford model. Strawford model is not much used in the examination, but that is also a popular model. So we are using this one, right? 1M. We are using the letter 1 and M. So cardinality or ordinality is basically explaining the participation in entities, participation in relationships. Here, so participation in relationships. Please write down that. Okay, now all set. Now we have come to the place where now we can solve the problems and we can understand the problems. Okay, cardinality, ordinality. Please write down that part also. Today we have discussed about very important principles. We discuss about keys. Then we discuss about ER diagram components. ER diagram model. Actually, in your syllabus, there are something called double ER, extended ER diagrams. But only thing that you have to write is the difference between the ER and EER, extended ER. You don't have to draw EER diagrams in the examination. EER exam එකට අඳින්න එන්නේ නැහැ. ER අඳින්න එනවා. double ER අඳින්න එන්නේ නැහැ. double ER වෙනුවට එන්නේ ඔයාලට double ER එකක් විස්තර. ඒ කියන්නේ කොහොමද ER එකෙන් වෙනස් වෙන්නේ? එකක් තමයි generalization, specialization, that part is there, and inheritance, that part is there. I'll show that. Okay, now so ER diagram part is done. Actually, we have to do small here, right? This is what the double ER has, enhanced ER diagrams. Actually, it shows two things: generalization, specialization, and aggregation. So generalization, specialization, what is that? So entities must have child entities or children. Here, person, student is also a person, lecturer is also a person. So student is a person and lecturer also is a person. So this is a relationship. This is called generalization, specialization. How specialization happen? Person to student, that is specialization. Person to lecturer, that is specialization. Downwards, that is specialization. We put arrow downwards. Downwards, it is specialization. Upwards, when you go upwards, it is generalization. That is one thing. In double ER, we saw generalization and specialization. That is something addition in double ER model. And another thing is the aggregation. Aggregation means together some entities acting as a single entity. Actually, student inquire about the examination system. In examination system, the exam center and exam also there. But we consider this everything as a single thing. Student associates with. So aggregation means basically whole part relationship. Parts combined and create a whole. Exam center, exam combined to create the exam, where student inquire about the exam. Exam has exam center and exam has student also. So that is called aggregation. Okay, generalization, specialization, and aggregation. Those are the things in this double ER model, addition to the ER. Okay, I'll send you the note, don't worry, I'll send you all the note. Okay, for this, how you'll get marks, you can see MySQL and this ER part, you will get 20 plus marks. Now we have finished that 20 plus mark, big lesson, but we still didn't discuss any questions related to that. I hope we need to discuss some questions as well. Therefore, my final focus is to discuss the exam question. So let's see what will be asked in the examination. Let's go to the examination question.
Sure.
Give me 1 second. Okay, let's move to the ER diagram question, because whatever we learn, you should be able to test this. So otherwise it is useless, because whatever we learn during the class time, so you need to test that and understand that. So one small question. So this is about the previous lesson, actually PHP. So since I saw the question, so what is the answer for question number 9? We learn about PHP and we learn about HTML. Can you answer question number 9? Yes. Metuli. What is question number 9? Answer for question number 9. Quickly, come on.
Second one.
Second one.
Sorry?
2, second one.
Yeah, answer number 2, second one. Form method is get and action is login.php, correct. Right? Netuli, are you going to like write the examination this year or 22?
22.
Not in this upcoming exam, right?
No, sir.
But I hope you can write the exam because you have already covered everything.
The ICT, other lessons,
Other subjects you are doing. But ICT, you can just write. I think you have covered everything by now. You came to both classes, no?
I haven't covered some lessons.
Sorry?
I haven't covered some lessons. The OS lesson and the 7th lesson.
OS lesson, actually, I have done that in 2023, so 22 batch. Didn't you come to that lesson?
No, sir. And I did not do the software lesson. 7th lesson, software development lesson.
Software development, which is Python.
Yeah, no, sir. 7th lesson about software.
Systems.
Yes, sir.
Systems, yeah. Systems, actually, I discussed before Python. Before Python, I just discussed that what are the systems and all. But those are minor things, like you will get very small amount of marks. But anyway, OS lesson, since we have covered that, I think we can cover it in maybe 2023 batch. You can come to that one, 23 batch class. You can cover over there. IoT, and so there are some remaining lessons, IoT. So that part will be covered in 22 class, because after finishing this database part, then I'll go to the minor lessons. So which are IoT and e-business systems. So those things will be covered here itself. OS lesson, I think you can cover it with 2023 class if you are not covered.
Okay, sir.
Okay, so let's go to the question, actual question. Yeah, part 2, I think. So you'll get, so part 1 also you'll get some question, but mostly part 2. Let me scroll down. This is under structured part, right? Structured part. Yes, coming under structured part. And you can see there is a question, so which is asked from the ER diagrams. And I couldn't tell one thing, the underline is used for identify the primary key, right? Underline is for the primary key. Okay, this is structured one. Can you try to answer this one quickly? This is small one, it's not hard, small. Then let's go to the essay question. We discuss, let's okay, let's discuss the number of hours in each staff member works on each project is recorded. Draw the attribute number of hours in relevant portion of the ER diagram with the correct symbol and the label. Number of hours in the relevant portion of number of hours each staff member work on the project. Staff work for project ne. එතකොට number of hours එන්න ඕන මෙතනට.
Staff එක.
Staff එකට දාන්නත් පුළුවන්. හැබැයි වඩාත් ලේසි මෙතනට දැම්මොත් works for එකට අපිට දාන්න පුළුවන් number of hours. ඇයි මේ දෙකටම අදාළයිනේ මේක. ඒ කියන්නේ it's related to staff also, it's related to project also. Here එක project එකක staff member කෙනෙක් වැඩ කරන අවස්ථාව. ඒ හින්දා අපි මෙතනට දා මේ staff එකට දාන්න පුළුවන්. හැබැයි staff එකට විතරක් relate නෑ, ඒකයි ප්‍රශ්නේ. ටිකක් වෙනස් එකක්. එතකොට සාමාන්‍ය relationship වලටත් attributes එනවා. එතකොට අපි relationship එකකටත් වෙනම table එකක් දානවා. We will create another table. එතකොට මේකේ තියෙන primary key එකයි මෙයයි තමයි ගන්න. compound primary key එකක් ඔන්න හැදෙන වෙලාව. මේ primary key එකයි compound කරලා මේ attribute එකක් දාලා අපි table එකක් හදනවා. එතකොට attribute තුනක් එනවා. Staff ID, project ID, project ID, number of hours. Or attribute tunama thiyena. There are 3 attributes: staff ID, project ID, number of hours, and this will become another table. This is special occurrence, right? Ekai ahala thiyena. That's why I discussed, because like we need to know what kind of examination questions will be there. Okay. Anyway, it's an attribute. For each project, temporary location is rented for the staff. Project, rent, location. For each location, here location is explained further. In a location can entity එකක් වෙනවා. එතකොට මේ location එකේ මොනවද තියෙන්නේ?
Owner name.
Location එකේ owner name, phone number, address, rent, rented date. එතකොට මෙතන relationship එකක් එනවනේ. Project මොකක්ද එන්නේ?
Project location.
Rents කියලා එකක් එනවනේ. Rents, right? Rents for each accepted project, renting, rent කියන එක එනවනේ. Rent. Then here you have to put the owner name attribute එක, phone number attribute එක, location attribute එක, address attribute එක, rent attribute එක, rented date attribute එක. Rent එක කියා given on the කියලා. Rented date ඕන නම් මේකට දාන්නත් පුළුවන්. Rent කියන එකට දාන්න පුළුවන් rented date කියන එක. මේකටම location එකටම දාන්නේ නැතුව, මොකද rent කරන වෙලාවෙනේ මේ rent කියන එක හැදෙන්නේ. Rented date මෙතනට දාන්න. This is my suggestion, right? So let's see what examiner has. The rented location is used only one project. When certain project is completed, the location rented for the project will be released. Now, make a මොකද්ද වෙන්නේ? This is like temporary, depends on the renting, and you can say this is a weak entity. මොකද it depends on the project නේ. Weak entity. Oh, it's not that. Then draw an entity location, the relevant attributes inside the X diagram, and link to the existing diagram by indicating the cardinality. One project has one location. Only for one project in the rented location is used only for one project. One project has one location. So 1-to-1 relationship. And that can be rented for many projects, but not in the same time. So therefore, you can maintain that. Okay, let's go to the answer now. Let's go to the answer now and understand our understanding as well as so what examiner has expected. You can say here, location is weak entity. Because it depends on the project, no? Here number of hours came here, right? Understood?
Yes.
And this 1-to-1 the relationship, we thought that, no, 1-to-1. And owner name, phone number, address, rent, rented date, rented period, everything calculated here. Make it a but that is optional. You can put it to the location itself. No, doesn't matter. And are they given any alternatives? No alternatives, but you will get marks even the rented date you put. Project has ne put rent කියන එක දැම්මොත් තමයි මෙතනට එන්න ඕනේ. ඒ දෙකටම marks හම්බ වෙනවා, don't worry. So project has location, and location has rented period, rented date, everything put there. So anyway, you will get full marks for that. For the cardinality, works for number of hours, all these things. That is one question. Okay, now you will understand. So I'll give another question, but don't look at the marking scheme. Try to answer this. And this is another. Now you can see 2 questions in the same examination. 2 questions came in the same examination here. You can see it's a long question. So I'll give this as a homework. Take a screenshot or snapshot. If not, go to the 2019 paper. Right? This is full question, came from ER diagram SQL in 2019 paper. So you can see there were 2 questions, right? එතකොට මෙතනට ලකුණු 10ක් ආවත් අපි අඩුම ගමුකෝ. 10යි අතන්ට ඔක්කොම සාමාන්‍ය ලකුණු 15ක් MCQ එකෙත් තියෙනවා. All together there is closer to 20 marks. Okay, take on the screenshot. Please do this as a homework and send it to me, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, with that I'll stop this. We have finished a long lesson, SQL, but minor parts related to PHP and this database connectivity, also actually we have done the database connectivity. The remaining part is deleting and updating related to PHP. Other things actually we have done that in SQL also. Only that part remains, very minor part, and I finish that next day. Don't worry, I'll finish that next day. So I was expecting there was a new student to come, but I think she couldn't join, unfortunately. But that's why I started the new part without finishing that. So anyway, we have to finish that. So next day I'm thinking of starting that remaining lessons. Right. Anyway, I'll finish that small part which I kept, but I'll be looking at the different lessons that we have to do. E-business is one lesson, and another lesson is IoT, Internet of Things. Those are theory lessons, not difficult theory lessons about the new concept, new innovation, future of ICT. And also we need to discuss about the systems part. So those theory lessons are remaining with the 2022 class. I'll soon finish that. And then operating system lesson, as I said, you can finish, you can cover it from 2023 batch. So not immediately, but it will take some time. 2022 class, I think we can finish by most probably by March, covering everything. After that, I'll look into the possibilities whether we can do any paper class, or if not, I'll continue to support you by. I have already discussed the papers, but in case if you missed that, I'll send those videos and I'll cover that stuff also. And also I'll discuss a sample paper, 1 or 2 papers before the examinations. That's my plan. Okay, then good night. See you all next week.
Good night, sir. Thank you.